Okay, I am standing here on today's Boy Scout walking path, which sits between the Devil's Den Triangle Field area, which is in front of us, and then behind us, directly in front, would be the wheat field. And I earlier did a video series called the Gettysburg Electric Trolley, in which this one portion of the roadbed used to be the roadbed from the electric trolley. And today I'm back here again because I'm going to do a video probably on the least visited marker here at the Gettysburg National Military Park. And that's going to be the Henry V. Fuller marker, which he was a captain in the 64th New York Volunteers. And this is a monument, or a marker rather, that is very little visited. People don't know that it's even here, or even the ones that do come out and try to find it. I myself had even looked for it for 3 or 4 years on my own before I was able to finally locate it. And a lot of people have asked me about this marker, so we're going to take you there today and show you how to get there. If you desire to see the marker, your best bet would be to go and park over here on the road near the trolley path. There's a Confederate brigade marker just outside here near the Triangle Field area, or even better yet, off of Diachapran Avenue in the wheat field. And then what you would want to do, there's 2 footbridges. There's one on this side and there's one on this side. So no matter which way you come from, you're going to cross 1 footbridge. I recommend coming from the wheat field side. You would cross the footbridge, and then you're going to see a large felled tree, which you can see here in the distance. You're going to pass that, and you're going to come to about the spot where I'm standing now, and you're going to see a little clearing in the woods. And what you want to do, you want to look for this particular boulder. It's a flat boulder that sits here on the ground. And also there's a rotted out dead tree stump sits right here. When you get to the spot, what looks like a little footpath, you're just going to basically follow it. And then when you do, there's some spider webs, so you have to kind of be careful of them. But you just take this back. Now, again, Henry V. Fuller on July 2nd was part of Brooks' brigade, John Rutter Brooke, and we did videos on the wheat field. We did videos on the 53rd Pennsylvania, who was under John R. Brooks' brigade. And Fuller was killed here. And after he was killed on Rutter's retreat, his body stayed out here for 2 days before it was found. And then, of course, the men of his regiment came back here and dedicated this marker. And because it sits out here in this wooded area today, which was part of the wheat field, it's very hard to find. Most people don't get to see this marker. So again, we're continuing to follow this little footpath, and it's going to take you right over by the run. And here it is. It's about 70 yards from the footpath that we just left. And it reads, Captain Henry V. Fuller, Company F, 64th New York Infantry, killed on July 2nd, 1863. And then just behind it is the run. And then, of course, in the distance over here in the clearing, you can also see the wheat field. So again, park over somewhere in the vicinity of the wheat field, take the old trolley bed path, past the footbridge, past the felled tree, and then back in this direction through a small path. And if you go past the run, you went too far. You're going to see the marker here sitting just at the edge of the run. This has been the marker for Captain Henry V. Fuller, part of Secrets of the Battlefield here on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook. V. Fuller Rock Part 2. And I've tried to give you a better location of how to find it. The best spot would be to come off the Devil's Den area and then make a left onto Brook Avenue. Now once you come to Brook Avenue, you're going to come to this area, which is the Boy Scout walking path and the old Gettysburg electric trolley. And you're going to see this sign here that says Brook Avenue. If you stand with your back toward this sign and take a regular pace step, you're going to go 137 paces, and you should be standing on top of the first footbridge. Okay. After you get to that first footbridge, you're going to take an additional 78 paces. And that should take you to the spot that I started the video in, where I took you back to the Henry V. Fuller mark. So this should be a little bit of a help. Start at the Brook Avenue sign, take 137 paces, and that should put you in the center of the footbridge. It should also gauge your paces versus my paces. So once you get to the center of that first footbridge, you can reset and count the 78. When you get to 78 at that point, you should see that little flat rock on your side. And then, of course, you can go back about 70 yards, and you'll see that little footpath, and you'll see the Henry V. Fuller marker, which is one of the least visited markers on the Gettysburg National Military Park. This has been the Henry V. Fuller marker, Part 2, on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook. I'm standing here on the eastern, heavily wooded slope of Big Round Top, and I'm looking at the Sphinx Rocks. This rock has eluded me for about 12 years now. I heard of it through legend, and it's really hard to see right now because of the overgrowth, but it's got this huge boulder that sits on a real narrow base, and then it has a bigger base at the bottom. And it kind of resembles the Sphinx in Egypt. And it's just a very strange rock formation that's here on the eastern slope of Big Round Top. And it's really hard to get to. It's off the old walking trail here on the battlefield. And I was able finally to find it. I knocked away some branches today. And just a little bit on how to get here if you decide to come out here. And if you do, be careful. It's a very steep, rocky ground. And if you step just a foot or two in front of you, you go straight down. And it's off the old Gettysburg Loop walking trail, which really doesn't exist or is used anymore. And you can see where I cut down some branches here with my walking stick just to get here. And I'm walking back to it now. It's kind of marked. If you walk the walking trail and you come to this large log here, you'll barely see it in the distance through the woods. It's probably a lot easier to see in the wintertime. I'm going to walk back on the trail now the way I came to give you an idea on how to get here. And I will say, as much visitation as Gettysburg gets, I can guarantee you, even in the 150th Gettysburg anniversary, with a couple 100,000 tourists that are going to be all around this park, you could probably come back here on any given day and not see a single soul. There is poisonous snakes back here, so you do have to be careful. There's also ticks, poison ivy, poison sumac, poison oak. And it's very thick, wooded area. I used a walking stick, which I ended up breaking, just to bat away poison and protect me against any kind of wild beast that may be back here. But we're now actually walking back on this old loop trail towards Sykes Avenue. And I'll finish this video by walking back. I guess my buddy is my good luck charm, because I just met one of my earliest fans on the Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook page a few minutes ago, which I'll post our picture we had taken. And I told him I was looking for this Sphinx rock, which had eluded me for 12 years. And then after meeting and talking to him for about a half an hour, I come back here and found it. So I guess he's my good luck charm. Now we're walking back, and just up here in the distance, you're going to see one of the old loop trail signs that's back here in the woods. It looks like it's been, back here for a while. Hasn't been trimmed around or anything, so it's starting to decay. The Sphinx Rocks has no other significance other than it was here on the eastern slope of Round Top probably surrounded by some soldiers here and there, July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 1863. And this intersection here, if we turn this way, there's the old loop trail sign here in the woods. And again, this trail's barely even used anymore. Rarely ever see anybody come back through here. Again, strewn with slippery boulders and poison and snakes. So just be very careful if you decide to venture back here and find that rock. And the best way to get here would be the old walking path for Big Round Top, not the current modern one, but the old one that I did a video on. Park there, right next to the sign that says Sykes Avenue. Look for the brigade marker, and behind it you'll see this trail. You'll head up to that sign we just passed, bear to the right, and then just follow along until you see that log laying on the left side of the trail, and look to your left. It's better in the winter time because you'll see the rock. I'd say it's 400 yards east of the brigade marker that we're going to be passing in just a moment. And in the distance right up here, you can see the intersection not too far from the saddle where Little and Big Round Top meet here. 20th Maine fighting over here in the distance. And here we come to the brigade marker, and then down in front, Sykes Avenue. There it is, Army of Potomac, 5th Corps, 3rd Division, 3rd Brigade, under Colonel Fisher. You'll see the path right behind it. And over here is the old walking trail, which I did a video on. Goes up to Big Round Top, rather. And then one of the only all-metal monuments here on the Gettysburg battlefield. And this is where you want to park your car, right here, near the 39th Pennsylvania Infantry, which is the 10th Pennsylvania Reserves Monument. And again, walk past that brigade marker, follow the trail back. When the road comes to a split, bear to the right. Look for the fallen log about 200 yards on your left, and then make an extreme left, and you'll find what took me about 12 years to find. That is the Sphinx Rock. This has been Secrets of the Battlefield, the Sphinx Rock, on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook. Okay, I am standing here at Racehorse Alley on North Stratton Street. And here's a sign for Racehorse Alley's parking plaza, which is our public parking plaza, which sits on Racehorse Alley. Now, from North Stratton Street, if we turn on the alley here, this goes westbound toward the town circle, and then eastbound. Now, eastbound in that direction would be York, Pennsylvania, and then westbound, of course, would be Chambersburg. Out here, which is our modern Route 30, is the Chambersburg and York Road. In 1863, it was the Chambersburg and York Pike, of course. Now, one of the secrets about Gettysburg is about Racehorse Alley itself. Racehorse Alley does go back to the Civil War, but the way it got its name, it's kind of one of those strange stories. Have you ever told a story to a friend or a family member and where you state, oh, when I was younger, I got away with murder. I did this when I was younger. I took a car and crashed it into my neighbor's driveway. I used to drive around with no insurance, and I went to school and smoked a cigarette in the back of the classroom. And you couldn't do something like that today. You ever told a story like that? Well, Racehorse Alley is kind of a story such as that. Back around the time of the Civil War, the Circle, which today has the Gettysburg Hotel, it was called McClellan's Hotel, McClellan's House, McClellan Tavern. And a man named John H. McClellan owned and operated it. Now, one of the weaknesses that McClellan had was he liked fast horses, or racehorses. It would be the equivalent of today of someone that likes fast cars, Corvettes, Stingrays, Mustang, Porsche. But this man had a need for speed. And what John McClellan used to do is he used to take his racehorses and he would go eastbound to westbound and then westbound to eastbound on the York-Chambersburg Pike, racing up the county streets on his horses, sometimes bringing a friend with him and having a horse race. Now, of course, today, if you were to do that in your motor vehicle, you would be pulled over and ticketed and fined and maybe imprisoned by the police. But back then, the laws were not like they were today. And what they did back then, they had a town council meeting where they brought up this problem of Mr. McClellan racing his horses in front of townspeople, which of course could have been a danger to the townspeople. You could hit somebody, a man, a woman, or a child crossing the road. You could damage other horse-drawn carriages, vehicles, pedestrians, etc. So the council meeting, they formed a compromise with Mr. McClellan and told him that he was allowed to race his horses in this alley behind what is the York-Chambersburg Pike. Therefore, thus the name Racehorse Alley. And that's how the Racehorse Alley got its name here. And if you were to walk the alley today, it would basically take you from the Gettysburg Post Office area straight by here and then down here, and it would dump you off by the 4th Street. So it basically goes from 4th Street to the east down toward the post office here to the west. So it's a good parcel of land to race a horse on. And of course, back during the Civil War and just previous to the Civil War, this was a dirt alley. This has been Secrets of Gettysburg, Racehorse Alley on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook.